Okay, well, today's agenda is NFS storage. So, as you know, we are using the open filer. So, first of all, we have to configure open filer settings for NFS share. All right, then create the dedicated VM kernel port for NFS access on each ESXi host. Okay, and then access the NFS data store. All right, that's all is the agenda of today's call. But if we compare it with the real environment, in real environment there is no open filer. There would be NFS servers, NS servers are already available in the environment. And in that case, you don't need to configure related to open filer settings. You will configure only required NFS VM kernel port, map that port with with your physical link. For an example, if I'll take an example of one host, we have to do the same setting for all the hosts. Like this is the virtual switch is available for one host. Then you have to configure a, let me just color it on different shade so that you can see that. You have to configure a VM kernel port. All right. And you have to just give an IP address. Like for example, you are giving the name VM kernel hyphen NFS. All right. And you also need to provide an IP address to that VM kernel port. And definitely that this is my virtual switch. Actually, if I'm considering this as my virtual switch, there could be number of uplinks available, and this should be mapped with the with particular uplinks. Those are you have dedicated for the for the NFS traffic. All right, we clear so far? Any doubt, any question? Are we good? Yes, no?
Sir. Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So now I am just logging in open filer. And again, I'm repeating you don't need to follow these step when you are doing real one. In real environment, you only need to create a VM kernel, and from the storage team, you will ask the details of the NFS servers, and you have to fill the details kind of IP address and NFS share. All right. So let me try to browse the open filer here first. Then we will do the basic settings. Those are available, to configure the NFS share using open filer. All right. So by default, open filer default username is open filer, and password is password. No special character, nothing. These are the default username and password. Username is open filer and password is simple password. All right. Logging in. Okay, so yesterday we have performed some of the labs related to your iSCSI storage. Today we are going to perform NFS. So first of all, if we want to configure the NAS services under OpenFiler, OpenFiler is a software-based storage solution that provide you both your SAN as well as your NAS storage. So first of all, go to Services tab. Under Services tab, you see here NFS server. So just enable this service and start this service. All right, this is your first task that you need to perform. Now, here is a tab you should see. Here is a tab of shares. So you have to create the new share under the existing volume group. By default, a mount say this one is created. So first of all, we have to create a volume before we convert that as in share. Okay, create a new file system volume. So if I will click on volume and I will follow the same steps that I have performed to create the volumes for your iSCSI. So I'll go ahead and I will do add volume. Under add volume, again I have to define uh, the size and details. Like for an example, if I will say NFS 01, for example, and I'm giving the same this is my size. So size I am taking here is standard size 10240 is 10. So here is the file share type. So earlier I was selecting the block. This time I have to select the XFS. Okay. XFS means any, X means any file share. All right. But in ideal scenario in production environment, again, I'm repeating that all task will take care by the storage administrator. You don't need to be worried about that. So now I have created one more NFS share here and I have to publish it as a, this is just a volume. I have to, with different file system, NFS file system is already applied, XFS file system being already applied here. So now let me go to share and you could see here, this is presented as a NFS share here, correct? Can you see this? All right. So now this volume I'm going to present in to my ESXi hosts. All right. So, but to presenting it to ESXi host, as I said, the host where we want to connect the NFS share, we have to create a dedicated VM kernel for the NFS share. So if I'll go to virtual switch and for now I am using vSwitch 0. So within this vSwitch 0, any kind of switch you are using, you have to create the dedicated VM kernel port for the NFS traffic. So here I'm using the existing virtual switch. Click next. Then if you see here, you will not see NFS. So you just type the hyphen NFS. And what is the VLAN you are using? You have to give the VLAN details. If in case that is there, in our environment, I am using none. Static IP. So I'm giving the IP 55. And whatever IP is available in your environment, you have to give the details of that IP subnet and gateway address. All right. So same way, I have to configure the VM kernel port to rest of the hosts. Select existing virtual switch, vSwitch 0. Okay, in case of there is DV switch port group I have defined, then you have to select from here and give the DV switch port group detail. But this time I'm using default vSwitch. I'm changing it, don't worry about that. NFS. All right, from here you don't need to select any of the function. Okay, so this is the IP address, subnet mask, and the gateway. So same way I have to repeat the same step to the third host. Add networking, VM kernel port, select existing virtual switch in this example. Okay, next. So, okay, whatever the VLAN will be available in the environment, give the VLAN details, and you don't need to select any kind of traffic from here. Just keep it as a native with native settings. Again, IP subnet mask gateway details, finish it. So now we have created the dedicated VM kernel port for the for accessing the NFS data store. All right. So our next step would be just to create the NFS data store. Right click, go ahead and go on your cluster. So just right click on cluster, or maybe you can click on any of the host and storage, new data store. But before that, I want to show you something. Yesterday, we have created some SAN data stores in data center 01. So you can see the details here. This is the data store 01. That is formatted by the VMFS file system. You could see here it is VMS file system. All right. So now we are going to connect one more data store that would be your pre-formatted. I mean, that's already formatted here itself as an NFS file system. All right. So for that, I have to just make a note of this path, because this path we have to provide when we are going to uh, configuring the NFS data store on host. So my path is mount VG1 NFS-01, correct? Keep remember this path. Anyway, we can see it again. That's not a problem at all. So going to host, go your cluster, right click, storage, new data store. So this time we will select the NFS. Next, I am keeping the default file system NFS3. Next, so what would be your data store name? So I am giving it as an NFS data store -01. So what is the share? So share has been created as an MNT BG1 NFS-01. Am I right? So let's just match it one more time. MNT VG01 NFS-01. Correct? This is my path. All right. So here it asking me the NFS server detail. So in this case, my NFS server is T20. So if there is more than one NFS server, I will put a comma and I will give the details, or I can give the, instead of IP, I can give the fully qualified domain name as well. All right. So mount NFS read only, no, I will add it as a read and write mode so that user can work. So let's click next. And we are saying to which host we are want to connect. So I will select all three hosts. So immediately it will be as a shared NFS data store for all three of the hosts if all configuration is fine. All right. So I have took file system this. This is my data store name. This is my NFS server detail. This is my shared folder detail that I am going to mount as an NFS data store. Access mode is read and write, and host accessibility for all three hosts. Okay. So mounting is failure. Okay. Let's let's make it again and just rectify the path as forward slash, one more forward slash, and try it. All right. Let us select all the hosts. Next. No, still it is failed. And just try again with another share name. Storage, new data store, VMFS. Next. Keep the file system same. And just NFS data store 1. All right. So NFS-01, correct? The sub share we have created. This is my server name. Next, compatibility. Yeah, it works this time. So my NAS data store have been included, correct? You see successful operation. So if I will go to the data store section, you will see one more uh, NFS share being added as an shared storage of 10 GB. All right. So again, if I want to browse it, I want to keep some file, I want to create some of the virtual machines, I can select the choice of data stores are available in the environment. But again, it's depend upon customer environment, whether customers are using the uh, what I would say, they are using the SAN or they are using NAS or they are using hybrid. So this is the example of hybrid. So in this case, you see, like if I will create any of the virtual machine in the environment, so it will we will have the choice of both type of data stores. You could see here, this is my SAN, this is my NAS, so I can choose the data store as per my choice. All right, clear?
Yes,
So
sir.
I will just try. I'll give you access, guys. So you just try one more share and try to mount it as one more NFS data store. All right. And if I will go to data store, again, same concept. If I will unmount it, it will just unmount, data will be safe. And I can mount it back. But if I will delete it, it will be completely, it will be completely, it should be completely deleted, right? So NFS data store, right click, because it is just an file system, it will keep safe. So this data will delete it. In case why delete option is not here, because the NFS share has been created onto the open filer end. So from open filer end, we have to delete it. We can unmount it here only. But in case of it is NFS, it is VMFS data store, I have the choice of unmount, mount it back, and delete it also. If I will delete the VMFS data store, it will delete all the data and it will take it back as a roller, and I can create again a data store, but that time it would be empty data store. But if I will unmount it and mount back, my data will be safe. In case of NFS, I can only unmount it, all right, from the hosts. And if I'll click unmount, and like for an example, I have I have selected all three hosts. Okay. So for the time being, it is unmounted. If I will go to host and I will check the available storage, or if I will go to summary itself, you will not see the detail of this one. So again, do we have something here? No, but my data is still safe. That is not being deleted. So now I have to repeat the same steps, whatever we have done uh, for the mounting. So right click, storage, because we have unmount from all the hosts. But if we would have unmount from few of the host, I can access that as it is for particular host. So NFS data store 01. So mount and unmount is not an activity to do it from completely. Sometime we have to unmount from the individual host as well. Okay, because we have unmounted from all. So if I will select here, right click. Okay, so from here, it will not give me the choice, but just 1 second. If I gonna unmount this, so it is giving me the choice, okay? Because yesterday we have unmount from one of the host, unmount, that's why it is showing me unmount from one host. And I can select, but here again, if I try to unmount, yeah, it's asking me. So if I will unmount from the specific host, I can. So now it means that host number 3, this data store will not be visible. So from host number 3, you could see there is no shared data store, not SAN, not NES. But if I'll click on 22, both this 10 and yeah, this is for SAN storage, it is showing for now. But yes, the NFS is also available for both. But for number 3, we don't have. All right. So now what we need to do to mount back the data store, either I'll go from here, right click and mount the data store to additional host, select it. Okay. Same way like this one is also not presenting, right click and mount it back to the additional host. But this is my VMFS data store. This is my NFS data store. Okay. So if I'm clicking here, it is showing the mount option disable because from data store side, it's okay. But for individual host, I'm not able to see. So what you need to do in that case, right click for the individual host, storage, new data store. No, you don't need to create because NFS is already there. You could see NFS here, but it is not showing me the SAN one, right? But for SAN, there may be another issue. It's not exactly the one from there I have unmounted. So let me check from here. VMHBA devices are, you should see here. This is the different problem. For SAN, don't get confused. This I am checking for SAN because this SAN data store, this my VMFS data store, for now, it is not available on host number 3. All right. So I'm trying to do the troubleshooting for host number 3. And host number 3, this is my iSCSI adapter. If you will see yesterday's video, you will get to know. Now you could see there is no path. All right. So let me discover is fine. And okay, that's not mandatory here. But my dynamic discovery is happening. All right. Let me just remove it. Okay. And let me just discover my iSCSI server again. Yeah, it is discovered. Let us just rescan the adapters and check some of the devices come. Yes, some of the devices are come now for this particular host also. Now let's just rescan the storage. So yeah, it is showing me. And now if I will go back and in summary, you will check this SAN storage is also back for this third host also. So if I will go to data store, I'll go to host, you could see the third host is also available. Okay. So these kind of issue you may face, and yeah, so it's the way of doing the certain level of troubleshooting. All right. So anyone want to take control? I want you guys just create one more NFS share and try to connect that. Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Pramod, Suresh, who else?
Yes, sir.
Suresh, you have laptop?
Yes, sir.
I have given you control.
Okay, sir.
So what I'm doing for you first, I'm just logging in Jump server where I have logged into the open filer. So I'm just logging inside the open filer first. Then you can make a share from there. And then next task, you don't need to recreate the VM kernel again and again. Only you will create a NFS data store. यार ये ना Let me check the domain controller machine. Hey, some timings being set here because of that. It's got power off automatically. Let it me power on because I can able to browse the uh, open filer through this domain controller internally. But let me try. Let me try to outside. This one. Okay, so guys, this is for practice one. So I am just stopping the recording for now because you have to repeat the same steps. Okay. Or you want to keep me the recording up? Well, let me just pause it for a moment and I will. All right. So we are going to create one more share. And again, we have to give that share to, we have to provide the share to my hosts. So for that, let's create one more NFS share. Go to volumes first. Press control is with you. Are you able to? Yeah, volumes. Then from right side, add volumes.
Sir, add
Right,
volume.
go to right. Come down, add volumes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, go on a left panel, middle panel, drag it down. Yeah, drag it, drag it. Just close this notification, what you are seeing. Yeah, so I'm just maximizing the screen.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so here, give the name NFS -02 hyphen 02. Yeah, volume description, type the same. Type the value 10240. We are giving 10 GB size. 10240.
10.
240 MB to GB.
Yeah, okay.
All right. File system is XFS. Create it. Yeah. So now go back to shares. Up in the up menu.
I,
From volumes to quota, then share. Third.
yeah, okay, sir.
Yeah. Shares. Then under NFS2, click. Yeah. Create a folder NFS02.
Yes. Direct 02, sir.
Yeah. 02. No hyphen. No hyphen. Let's follow the same standard. Create subfolder. Click on NFS02 again. Yeah, just make share. Create. No, nothing. Make share. Ah, yeah, come down. come down. Yeah, drag from the mouse, drag it from the mouse, this page. Yeah, one second. Let me just do on your behalf. Give it public guest access, and from here,
Read and write.
read and write. And also from here,
Read and write.
read and write. Okay. All right. So just update it and check it back. This is not being changed so far. Update it. And yeah, because it's a public guest access, it means anyone can access it. All right. Read write. That's fine. Now it's okay. Whatever. So now you just go to browser, vCenter. Now click on your cluster. Right click on cluster. Just right click. Storage. New data store.
Okay.
NFS. Next. Yeah, NFS 3. Give the name NFS data store 02.
NFS hyphen 02.
Just change 2.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah, come down. Click on folders. Yeah, just type the second path, middle path. Yeah, and change the value NFS 02 and NFS 2. Yeah, 02. And go in middle pane. This one, capital NFS. You have give capital name, right? Capital NF. That is fine. Capital NFS hyphen 02.
Capital. Okay, okay, sir.
It is fine. It is fine. It is fine. Next. Yeah. अरे यार इधर आओ ना. Either say what name you have given. You have given NFS
Okay.
capital, right? 02. All right.
Okay.
Or if you want to match it, just match it. Okay.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay, I given the smaller. All right. No problem. This is your path.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if it is small, then make it as small. Type the server name 20. All right.
Yes, sir.
Click next. Yeah, select all the host.
Next.
Yeah, finish. Yeah, so now you could see the task being completed for all of the host. So it should be visible. One more data store, one more shared NFS data store is available on each and every host. All right. Again, you can perform mount, unmount activities, not delete. Delete is only possible in case of it is VMFS, because you are not allowed to make any file format here. All right. We clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
That's it. That's the purpose of today's call, guys. So